Hello, I am your teacher, Mr. Pacitti, and this is my classroom here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so put away your mobile phones, put away my desk. Psych, bitches. It's time to concentrate, it's time to study. This is SmackDown Live, and this is Graded. We are kicking things off with a Money in the Bank rematch. The champion Kofi Kingston taking on Kevin Owens in a non-title match. And after this week's episode of Raw, which took about 40 minutes to get to some actual action, this was a very welcome change. I mean, there was a promo before the match, but it didn't last that long. So before the match, Kevin Owens grabs a mic and denies responsibility for attacking Big E, saying that Big E must have had sweat in his eyes or something. But if you want to blame him for something, you can blame him for all the pain that Xavier Woods is feeling right now, and you can blame him for Kofi Kingston losing the WWE title at Super Showdown in his match with Dolph Ziggler because of what he's going to do to Kofi Kingston right now. 7 minutes in now, out comes Kofi Kingston, who says that everybody knows that you attacked Big E. You are a liar. And long story short, tonight is the night that you are going to pay, Kevin Owens. Ring the bell, start the match. We're about 10 minutes in at this point. Fine. And it was a very nice match indeed. Not quite on the level of their Money in the Bank match, sure, but that's a pay-per-view. This is free TV. This was still a great match. Owens healing it up big time. Every time Kofi tries to get a bit of momentum, Owen cuts him off with heelish tactics. There was some good brawling on the outside. Owens throwing Kofi into the crowd barrier. There was a great frog splash from the apron and two great near falls, one following a frog splash from the top to the mat and one following a senton. All good stuff. So Kofi, being the defiant, gutsy, fighting champion, just will not stay down. He ends up putting Kevin Owens away with a Trouble in Paradise as Dolph Ziggler watches on from backstage, which I thought was a little bit weird, because couldn't Dolph have come out last night rather than on Raw? Because, I mean, he is on SmackDown. I know wildcard rules and all that, but the opening segment of Raw was just so long. I think it would have been better suited to have Dolph come out last night rather than on Raw. Regardless, a really enjoyable match. They played with us a little bit, making it look like we were going to get a match straight off the bat and then gave us 10 minutes of promos. But I can forgive that because the promos themselves were pretty good. And I'm going to give this one an A-, which sounds too generous. I was going to give it a B+, but a B+ sounds too harsh. I'm a nice guy, sticking with A-. A- for Kevin Owens versus Kofi Kingston. Let's move on. Out next are your SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, who are here to top up that 10 minutes of promo with 10 minutes of their own. Bryan says that the SmackDown Tag Division is a joke. Wrong brand, mate. But anyway, Rowan has a joke of his own. Knock, knock. Who's there? The SmackDown Tag Division. The SmackDown Tag Division who? Exactly. I've made it sound rubbish, but it was actually quite good. That said, stop stealing my bit, you big ginger beardy fuck. Bryan puts down the crowd for destroying the planet. You know the score by now. He's brilliant. And they are here to save the world because they are your planet's Tag Team Champions. Cue Heavy Machinery. Tucker says that they have some business, some blue-collar solid business, and that business is the SmackDown Tag Titles. Bryan accepts the challenge and says that we will have that match, but not here in the fracking state of Oklahoma. Gold, love it. This gets a B+. There is little to complain about here. Bryan and Rowan were terrific last night. Bryan, as always, is wonderful. One of the best promos in the world as far as I'm concerned. But also Rowan, who I really feel like he's coming into his own. He's found a role in which he's going to shine. And Heavy Machinery, happy to see them properly in the tag team scene rather than just these random matches or random crappy backstage segments. All good. Mandy Rose is out next to face Carmella. She is on the cover of Muscle and Fitness. Hers, I have a subscription and I know you do too. She's very proud, understandably. Short, simple match where Mandy Rose is able to pick up the win following a distraction by Sonya Deville, distracting Carmella with the magazine, obviously. C+ here. The match wasn't great, obviously, but it does further the story of this one-sided friendship between Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and I thought we were going to see the turn happen at Money in the Bank, but actually I'm enjoying this enough enough that I'm glad that didn't happen, and I can deal with a few more weeks of this. We cut to backstage, and R-Truth is hiding away, but he is quickly found by Jinder Mahal, who attacks him, tries for a pin, doesn't get it, and then Drake Maverick finally finds R-Truth, and he runs after him, flanked by a load of SmackDown lower to mid-carders. And I am really loving this. I'm loving what Drake Maverick is doing on social media. He's absolutely making the most of this 24/7 title, and I'm just glad that people who may not be involved in a storyline have something now to do. Even if they're only on TV for 30 seconds, they're maximizing their time on TV. And personally, yeah, it's silly, but I'm entertained by it. Here comes the money. Out next is Shane McMahon with Drew McIntyre and Elias, and tonight is a very special night indeed, let me tell you. It's Shane McMahon Appreciation Night, yes! Classic, arrogant heel, self-congratulatory stuff from Shane McMahon as he talks about how humble he is before throwing to a 2 or 3 minute video package all about how brilliant he is. Really worked for me. And a rare shout out to one Kevin Dunn. Hi, Kevin. He says that VT was an educational video for Roman Reigns because the McMahons have been putting food on the table of Roman's family for a long time now. Elias plays a song bigging up Shane McMahon, but it doesn't last for long because he's interrupted by Drake Maverick and R-Truth. Drake chasing R-Truth through the crowd. They have a quick 5-second match. R-Truth picks up the win, retaining his belt, but then is attacked by Team Shane O'Mac. And then, as he's laid out on the floor, Elias makes the cover. 1, 2, 3. Elias picks up his first title in the WWE. What a day! It's the 24/7 title, but still, congratulations. And then Shane sets up a tag team match for the main event tonight. Elias and Drew taking on a beaten down R-Truth and Roman Reigns. Holla holla, player player. And this ruined the segment for me. Not just because it's an uninspired tag team match and it happens all the pissing time, but because Shane McMahon then suspended the 24/7 rule, which made it so obvious, so obvious that Elias was going to be the one to eat the pin. Everything before this tag team match announcement was solid here. I like the fact that it looked like R-Truth and Drake Maverick were going to close this segment, rather than the obvious Roman Reigns coming out, Superman punches all over, and just trashing everyone. However, we didn't get that. We got this suspension of the 24/7 rule, which just orchestrated the finish to the main event of the night. They don't want Drew to eat the pin, so it has to be Elias. And yeah, this brings it down from a B-, because I really did enjoy the Shane McMahon video package and all that stuff. It brings it down from a B- to a C-. Do better. SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley is out next to face Lacey Evans with her new pal Charlotte Flair sitting on commentary. A solid 10-minute match here with this new, more focused, intense Bayley, who is far more fun to watch. She's needed that character development for some time. And then later on in the match, she attacks Charlotte Flair, who is of course at ringside, which leads to Charlotte. Essentially, she chases Bayley, but distracts the ref in the process, which allows Lacey Evans to get a pin, but the ref doesn't see it. And Bayley's shoulders are down for 3. By the time he turns around, Bayley counters. 1, 2, 3. Your winner is Bayley. Not too keen on the finish personally. I'm not sure Bayley should be picking up what looked like chance wins when she's only just won the title, but it does mean that after the match, Charlotte Flair attacks Lacey Evans, setting up what looks like a feud between those two, and that's something that I am excited for. Sure, if we're going to get a feud between Lacey and Charlotte, it's going to be quite difficult to book for the obvious reason that they're both heels at the moment. But I do like the fact that we're getting a proper women's feud that's centered around something that isn't the title or a man, a la Mandy, Rose and Naomi from earlier this year. This match gets a B-. Some people are complaining that Lacey Evans is so near the top of the women's division when she's only just recently been called up. But I will say that she held her own last night, and when she's in the ring with a veteran like Charlotte Flair or Bayley, she actually looks really good. She's still green, which makes me wonder if she does capture a title down the line and they have to put her in with somebody with less experience, will she be able to carry a match? I'm not so sure, but time will tell. Main event time! And as mentioned earlier, it is that rather uninspired tag match. Roman Reigns and R-Truth taking on Drew McIntyre and the new 24/7 champion Elias. But remember, that 24/7 rules have been suspended. What could happen here? So Truth comes out all banged up from earlier in the night, and then as he's making his entrance, the heels run in and attack him further, essentially turning this into a handicap match. Can Roman Reigns overcome the odds again? Cut this out, please. So a knackered old Truth comes in, and Drew and Elias beat him down without mercy. You don't even need me to tell you what happens here. Roman gets the hot tag. Roman comes in, obliterates absolutely everyone. Shane McMahon runs away. Roman Reigns overcomes the odds, picking up the win, pinning, oh, who was it? It was Elias, obviously. After the match, 24/7 rules are back in effect, and R-Truth goes like that, and he climbs on top of Elias and regains his 24/7 title. This gets a C+, a run-of-the-mill tag match with Roman Reigns picking up the win in the most predictable way possible. I was going to be more harsh with the grade, but I did find myself smiling when R-Truth regained his title. Maybe I'm just simple, but I thought that was a feel-good moment, and I liked it. Truth has been, for me, one of the highlights of SmackDown for the past year or so now, and is an example of comedy done right in wrestling, which for the WWE is quite the rarity, so I'm not going to whinge too much. Not a memorable SmackDown by any means, but also not a bad SmackDown. I'm giving this one a B-. We had a good match in Bayley versus Lacey, we had a great match in Kofi versus Kevin, and a big shout out to our planet's tag team champions who were on form once again. Also, before I go, a very, very special shout out indeed to the newlyweds, Sam Driver and Ross Twaddell. Huge congratulations, guys. Sorry I couldn't be there. It looked like a fantastic, beautiful day. What an emotional wedding. Even the cake was in tears. Ooh. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.